Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for checking out the video. I really do appreciate it. Today we're talking about the Cycle Frontier, specifically a couple of settings, primarily focusing on the keybinds. It's obviously a mouse and keyboard game. I didn't love the kind of the setup in the keybinds that kind of came with the default settings. I know some people do, so you know, to each his own. But I have kind of played around with it and monkeyed with it, just trying to figure out what works best for me. So I thought I'd share it with you guys, and maybe it might help some of you out as well. So welcome to the video, and what do you say I stop wasting your time and we'll just get on into it. Also, I am really sorry to be that guy. If the video does help you out, it really would mean a lot to me, and I'd really appreciate it if you could maybe drop a like and even a subscribe if you'd like to see some more. I plan on kind of dishing out some more Cycle Frontier content, so if you're enjoying the game as much as I am, I plan on doing a couple more, how-tos, guides, things like that. And I also stream it, 3 to 5 times a week. Usually nights around 7 o'clock. What time zone am I in? Mountain time zone. There it is. Goodness gracious. So 9 o'clock Eastern. I can't do the math in my head. But yeah, no, if you enjoy it and if you'd like to see more videos, feel free to come join the army. If you want to jump into the stream, just pop in and say hi sometime. It's always nice to talk to people. I'm a relatively small streamer, and it's always fun getting to talk to you guys. So, but yeah, with all that being said, what do you say we get after it? All right, so hopping into the game here. If it ever decides to load, we're just gonna run through. Damn, bro. Okay. All right, so that's everything. Okay, cool. So loading into the game here. So we go to our settings menu. I'm presuming you know how to get to there. If you don't, it is the escape key and then settings. And like I said, for the video, we're kind of focusing on the key binding specifically. So basically, the idea of what I was going for when I was kind of building this out was some of them are pretty far. For instance, to open your inventory, it was the key I, which if your hands are over on the WASD keys in terms of movement, the space bar, kind of the ones on the left, caps lock, tab, all that good stuff. It doesn't seem that feasible because inventory is something you open up a bunch on your keyboard, and we'll get into it and everything. So I tried to kind of centralize them more over, or I guess push them all to the left over where your hand already is, or let your thumb on the mouse or some of the fingers on the mouse do some of the work as well. If you're number one, it's more efficient, it's more quick. You're not fat fingering other buttons that are kind of around it because you're reaching so far over. So kind of the whole idea behind it was just to make it as easily. And also sometimes you're gonna need some of them during combat, and it's just not that feasible. If you're getting shot at, trying to run for cover, whatever the case may be, trying to shoot back, to reach over and hit your inventory. If I don't know what the case may be, but if you need to drop something to add something to the inventory, whatever the case may be. So it just tries to make everything a little bit quicker and more efficient. So we'll start at the top and go our way down. I will scroll through once while I'm just sitting here kind of talking. You guys can just kind of see what I've changed everything to. Feel free to pause the video if you do need it, if you want to look at it. But like I said, I'll kind of go through and talk about it as well. There's kind of our list. And then certainly if you love or hate any of these, if it doesn't quite work for you, you don't get it. Number one, I would appreciate if you let me know what you like or don't like, and what you would in fact use, because it could quite possibly and probably will be better than whatever I have. This is certainly not a figured out science. We're all the way to the end. So first and foremost, starting with movements, nothing's gonna change there. Same old, same old. Should be noted, however, if you change the movement keys to anything else, unless you use the mouse if you were a lefty and you use the mouse in your left hand, that would maybe be the only exception I would give you. But you're a psychopath, and I presume you're not allowed 100 feet within a school or a playground. So I think we would all agree on that. Pretty much going to stay the same for ADSing, firing, next weapon using the mouse wheel, jumping and sprinting, and even crouching as well. All going to kind of stay the same. I do think it's worth noting over in the controls section, you do have the option between sprint, crouch, and targeting. You have the option to toggle. If it's not toggled, what that means is, so if I hit the C key once to crouch, and then so I tap it and my finger's off of it, you will stay crouched. You have to hit it again, and this is if it's on. You have to hit it again to uncrouch. Personally, I enjoy doing where you hold it, so you would hold C if you want to remain crouched, and then as soon as you release off the C key, you become uncrouched. I do recommend it if you're a big fan of teabagging opponents that you kill, letting them know, yeah, you just got, you know, curb stomped courtesy of this guy. So then when you go for the teabag, it's a lot more efficient and I think a little bit funnier too if it's kind of quick, you know, more jackrabbit, if you will. That's besides the point. I don't know what targeting is for the life of me. I do not. So if anyone could actually help me out with that, I'm curious. I didn't know if that was a ping system because I didn't think there was a ping system in this game. Again, I'm still new as well. So I look like a fucking idiot trying to do an introduction and help you guys out. But that's besides the point. Again, if you do know what targeting is, I would appreciate it if you could. Please let me know in the comments. Okay, and then the changes kind of start coming once we get down to inventory. I have to pull out my handy dandy notebook here just to make sure I do get everything right. Let's see, called you a psychopath and you're not allowed near a playground or school. Okay, so here we go. So I have the list here because I went back on the stream when I first played it and I just wrote down what the default keys were. If you're watching this for the first time or you can't remember what it was default, you do have an option with the R key to restore your default settings. However, you might just want to change one or two, or you were just curious what the default ones were. So I will tell you what they were at the original. And if you do restore defaults, it changes everything. I learned that one the hard way. It does the video, audio controls, key bindings, and the game, not just the defaults for key binds in this case if we're on this screen. So I will go through and I will tell you what the default was and then obviously what I've changed it to, which you can also see. Inventory went from I moved that to the tab key. Big reason of this is because, you know, while you're playing, you're using your inventory quite often. You're opening it up, seeing what you have, moving things around, dropping, adding things. So I is a tough stretch, you know, in terms of going from there all the way up to the I key for me at least. So I moved that over to tab because it's just really quick, you know, with your ring finger up to it from the A key. Okay, meleeing from V, I moved that to the thumb mouse button. So if you can see it, just kind of like the side mouse button that when I'm using it, my thumb can hit. The big reason for me of that was I'm just coming off playing Call of Duty, and that was my melee key in Call of Duty. I hope I'm on push to talk, because this guy's kind of looking at me, oh, my camera's hiding. You can't see. There's a guy like staring at me right now. It's like I don't know if he's just wondering, you know, what the heck I'm doing. So hopefully he's not just tuning in. I don't know. Here, bro, you can have the key bindings too if you want it. Never mind. There he goes. You got them all, huh? All right, moving right along here. So I apologize, I got a little bit distracted there. Anyways, long story short, the thumb key works better for me for the melee. However, if you prefer V, it's certainly not a stretch. Or any other key, feel free. Map. Map was in the default settings M. It was another one that I thought was a pretty good reach. So I went from M and I changed it over to caps lock. Also was my caps lock key in Call of Duty when I was playing a lot of Warzone, similar to the melee. So it kind of made more sense. Map is another one. You pull that up a lot while you're playing, and during that, I don't want to have to be reaching over and then trying to kind of figure it out amongst the keys. But if you have the talent and the dexterity to go from your spacebar up to the M key, please feel free. I do not. So I know what my limits are. That is certainly one of them. So that's why I switched it over to the caps lock. It should also be noted, there's a couple of these that I am kind of skipping over because I'm not changing them. I'm only referring to the ones that I changed, if that makes sense. So for instance, the interact pickup, I left at F, so I didn't think it was worth bringing up. So just, I am skipping over a couple, but I will be talking about every single one that I changed in here. So if I don't talk about it, it's just because I didn't change it, if that's all right. Push to talk. So push to talk was T on the default settings. I moved that over to the middle mouse button, so I pushed the mouse wheel down, similar to what I did in Call of Duty, and I do think it's relevant. You know, the T key is very reachable, so if you prefer that, if that's what you're used to, by all means, feel free. For me, and I'll show you an example of this, but for me, personally, it's easier for me to keep moving, shooting, whatever the case may be, and then to simply just take my index finger or my middle finger, whatever I end up doing, up and pushing that mouse wheel down versus hitting a key itself. And that, again, that's just a personal preference. Whatever you guys prefer, you can most certainly do. Very important to have, because what I'm learning the more that I play, game chat becomes a premium, or the push to talk does. You will use it if you're looking to get the full experience out of it. somebody in my chat on a stream recently, a couple nights ago, had just informed me of this, that I can talk to other players, you can work with them, and I actually used it for the first time, and the exchange actually went really well. So I'll include a video of that in here right about now for you to watch and understand what I'm kind of talking about. That'll keep you up at night. Friendly. All right, my man. Sorry, it was my first time using game chat, so I got kind of scared. I apologize. What's up, bro?
No, you're good, bro.
How you doing, man?
How many compound sheets do you need?
Oh, dude, no way.
There's 30.
Okay, what can I trade with you?
Do you by chance, this might be a long shot, but do you by chance have any optic glass or circuit boards? God
damn it, dude. I give you no value. I apologize. I don't.
No worries, dude.
This guy's really nice.
I got is helping you out, so I'm gonna be running out this
cool.
way, and I wish you good luck.
Yeah, thanks so much, dude. You as well. I appreciate it, man. Have a good one. Happy 4th of July.
Hey, you too, brother. You too.
Thanks, bro. I feel like I kind of started him when I just started shouting friendly at him. I didn't mean to be that aggressive about it. He was just like, all right, jeez. That was nice of him, though. Yeah. So nice to have if you're getting rained on. You know you're going to lose the fight. So then you just start screaming friendly, hoping that the guy doesn't decide to kill you. It's, you know, I don't know what the percentage of that happening is. I'm at 100% right now, but I'm sure there are guys that will still fry you, and it at least gives you a better chance than you trying to, or at least for me, trying to shoot back at the guy, because then that's 100% I'm gonna die because of my lack of gun skill. So it's effective, and it's something that the more I play, I'm learning that a lot of people do use voice chat. So it's something that you know, if you hear footsteps, you can shout that out, or if you start getting shot at, very easy for you to use a button on the mouse versus maybe kind of scrambling around for a key if your main concern is getting to cover while you're getting rained on. So yeah, personal preference again, but certainly something that you will use during the game. Okay, communication wheel. So that was set at left alt. You guys might like that. It's in the area. It's very easy to you know, get to versus like, you know, the primary keys that you're hitting. The issue I had with it is I usually don't set anything as my left alt. My logic being is that my Windows key is right next to it, so more often than not I go to hit that left alt button with whatever I'm trying to do in any game, and I will more often than not smash the Windows key so it like pulls you up and takes you back to your desktop, so then you're just standing there trying to regather yourself. So to be honest, I just don't like having anything at the left alt key, and that's just again a personal preference. You guys probably aren't as big of dumbasses as I am, so it might not be an issue. And then, so I went from the left alt to the X key. Okay, spraying, banner, and emoting. That was previously the F3 key. I took it down to the just number 3. So just a little bit of a shorter distance to travel to get up to it. Can't say I use it very often at all. Don't really need it. It could have just as easily stayed F3 or been the 0 key as far as I'm concerned. But if you ever choose to do it, you know, you kill somebody and then you want to dance on them. If you're, you know, if you're like a 6-year-old that plays Fortnite, that was a cheap shot at you Fortnite players, but I digress. We'll address that at a different time. So, okay, hiding the heads-up display. I've been gaming for in the ballpark of 22, 23 years or so. I still don't really know what a heads-up display is. Again, you guys probably aren't as big of dipshits as I am, so I'm sure you do. I don't know if there's a scenario where you would want to hide it or not. I don't know. I think it's just like kind of the interface on your screen that you're kind of seeing. If you would want to, it was set as none in the default. There was no button to do it. I like having the option, I suppose, even though I don't know what it would do. I still haven't done it. Actually, I'm going to try it right here and see if anything happens. Yeah, so it just takes everything off. So maybe if, I don't know, if you're like a content creator and you're looking for like that thumbnail picture or something, you could take that off, I suppose. Probably the only thing I could really think of, though. So I just changed it to H. HUD and hide H. Makes sense to me. Okay, quick menu. I moved that up to T, still reachable as needed. However, during gameplay, I don't really need it. So what I was doing originally was I had that also set as tab. So what would happen is I would go to the quick menu and then you have all this. So the battle pass, your character, objective, shop, play. You don't really need it during gameplay, and then I would go over and I would click inventory to get to it, which is incredibly counterintuitive, especially if you're trying to go quick and you're also new to the game. So in my opinion, it's better to have the inventory as tab, so then I'm straight to the inventory right away, versus having to go to this setting and then click inventory and then do what I gotta do, especially during the gameplay when, you know, it could be players running around you or the monsters out there or whatever the hell those things, the striders and those fucking spiders or whatever those things are out there running around, some like chupacabras. So yeah, it just kind of makes sense just to have tab is that, and then, you know, if you need it, it's at your T key, so not too far away. Okay, calling for the evac. I changed that to V. I apologize. I missed putting that one in my notes, so I don't remember exactly what it was. I want to say it was Y. To be honest, V is just a little bit quicker. Sometimes you can hit it really quick as soon as you get into that evac area and you meet that threshold of how close you have to be to call it. V was just a little bit closer, made sense to me, so I changed it to that versus having to reach just a tad bit further to Y. So personal preference, not necessarily something you use a ton, so I think Y would work, but again, that's totally up to you. Okay, weapon accessories. So I moved this from L to B. My logic being L kind of far away, and this is one that you potentially use during battle. So the idea would be if, you know, you kill a player, you go through their backpack and they have a bunch of accessories for you to put on your weapons. So then you would hit the B key. In this case, you'd hit the B key and then it's right there as you need to. You can take the accessories on or off, however you got to see fit. So it is something that you may use during gameplay. Wouldn't say it's overly often. That's why it's at the B key, not super close to kind of that central location. But again, personal preference for you. Helmet accessories, I don't know what this is. I've never used it, so I left it. I think it was set it in, so I left it in, and that's just kind of that. But yeah, if anyone finds out what helmet accessories we're talking about, I'd appreciate it. And I don't know, you know, N's fairly close to B, I suppose. Still a little bit of a reach. I can't say I've ever used it, at least during gameplay, so... Okay, and you can forget everything I said at the weapon accessory. I don't know what the hell that does either. What I was referring to was the attachment screen, which I have set as semicolon. So you can now call me a liar. I don't know what the weapon or helmet accessories do. Those keys aren't really in the way, B or N. Attachment screens, so if I go and buy attachments at the shop, I put those on before I even go into the battle or go into the field. So, you know, I'll pull up my inventory, then I hit the semicolon button. Why did I pick semicolon? I don't know. It's just kind of like with the shit of like the image of it, kind of reminds me of attachments, I guess. I don't know. Take your pick. Couldn't use A. A was taken for attachments, so yeah, I don't know. But so that's kind of what I was referring to. And again, I don't think I've ever picked up a gun or, you know, raided a player and saw their attachments and then been like, well, I gotta just go put these on. And if you do, you're gonna go to an area of cover, so I suppose you could then go to your inventory, semicolon, and you're good to go. So I apologize for that. I'm a fucking idiot. No, I don't know what weapon or helmet accessories do, but attachment screen, that is one that you use, but I just don't typically use it during battle. If I take someone else's weapon, I'm just going to run the attachments that are already on it. Okay, moving right along here. Nice, only two left. So friends list, that was the letter O. I moved it to L. The only reason why is L for list. That's legitimately all I have. You can keep it at O. You can take it to L. It doesn't really matter. I don't even have any friends on here, or in the real world for that matter, but that's besides the point. So yeah, I went L for list. That's it. Something you're not going to use during gameplay, I can't imagine. And then the last one, and this kind of goes back to the video I showed you guys and when I was talking about how it's nice to have your push to talk in a good spot in case you do need it while you're out there. So muting the incoming voice, it was set as none. I decided to put a key on there, so obviously you guessed it, M for mute. I'm not splitting atoms here. It's fairly common and predictable how I put some of these lesser used buttons are. I especially recommend this one if you are a streamer or maybe content creator of any kind. The reason being is we've all been in lobbies where, you know, an unknown variable is who you're going to be playing with, who you're going to run into out in the field. And if you just get someone that comes running in, talking crazy, saying crazy stuff, it's nice to have the option to mute them quickly if you can, versus, you know, open up your settings, go to key bindings, and then you're scrambling around, you know, while you have viewers watching you, watching all this unfold. It's just best to try to avoid that scenario, so then you can very easily, hopefully, remember M for mute, and then put a mute on a player that's just acting kind of wild. So just maybe a tip. I guess you don't even have to be a content creator. It's just if someone's talking like a fucking idiot, nice to mute them and just get it out of the way, even if you're just playing casually or playing for fun, you know? So, for whatever it's worth, to each his own. That's up to you. Okay, then I did have a couple of just small little bonus changes. And again, I'm a dumbass when it comes to technology and everything. You know, where I'm from, like, we still like bang rocks together for entertainment, so I'm still kind of learning like the tech and computer side of things. So I do apologize for that. But there's just a couple of things under, you know, the video, audio controls in game. Just a couple of settings I changed that may be worth your time and, you know, worth considering. Rendering device, it was set, if I'm not mistaken yet, it was set at default. So I went ahead and switched it over to my graphics card. The reason being is it probably wouldn't be an issue, but if you have it as default, there could be potentially a chance that it would just use the, in this case, Microsoft Basic render device, driver. So I just went ahead and picked my graphics card because I guess you might as well, right? You know, you just not even give the machine the option to pick the other one. I don't know. I say windowed full screen. Yeah, that's up to you. I really don't know the difference between half of these, to be honest. There's not really much that I see different, other than I guess this isn't borderless, right? So, but yeah, I just do windowed full screen for me personally. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that's the best one for frames. If you deal with like frame skipping, things like that, at least in the world of Call of Duty, going not borderless but just windowed full screen tends to help with your frames, if I'm not mistaken, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong there. DLSS, don't know what the fuck that does, so I just left it at auto. Imaging sharpening, I have no idea. FPS, set it at whatever you prefer. Again, I don't know if I can go higher or lower. This is just what it had it set at for me. The game seemed to be running fine, looked fine on my end, so I was just kind of good. Obviously, we all know this field of view. I recommend putting at the highest or leaving at the highest, which I think the highest is 100, and that's what the default sets you on. Even if you think it may look a little bit better to you, I mean, get after it if you want to, if you want to decrease it, but we all know why, is if there's an enemy off to your right or your left on the edges, if that field of view is at 80 versus 100, that's the difference between seeing them and not, potentially. So in terms of just competitive play and giving you the highest competitive advantage you can have, leaving at the highest makes the most sense. And everything else here, I left on whatever it set me at, you know. So for instance, like the video quality, it gave you an option at the start, if I recall, which was the auto detect, or you can set it yourself. I just went with that. Reads the system, tells me what I can and can't do. Cool, yeah, keep it. Whatever you set it at. Like I said, it looks fine to me. And then the last thing, the only thing that I changed here was the showing the frames per second. I just like to know. I like to see it sometimes, so that's just a personal preference. But if you don't give a fuck, you don't give a fuck. Up to you. I feel like I'm not supposed to be cussing during all these videos, but it is what it is. Okay, moving over to audio here. Master volume, I can't remember what it came at. Was it 75 or 100? I think I left it at 75, if I'm not mistaken. Music volume, I usually put it 0. However, when I was trying to take it down, it stopped at 6.9. I thought that was funnier, so I'm just leaving it there. I can't hear the music at all. It depends, you know, what you're after and if you want to hear the music while you're playing, great. I personally don't. I'd rather focus on, you know, footsteps or, you know, hearing kind of what's going on in the game around me. You know, and sometimes I think the music volume can overshadow that, and then it could end up getting you killed when you would hear footsteps if not for the in-game music or something. For that same reason, I leave sound effect volume all the way up. That is footsteps, that's gunshots off, that's, you know, people going through bushes, running versus walking versus crouch walking, which I don't think you can hear during crouch walk, but walking or sprinting, you certainly can. Everything else, I believe I pretty much left the same. I may have turned down a little bit of the dialogue and hit marker. That's completely up to you. That's just if somebody was talking into my ear, being like one of the, what are they? The NPCs is talking to you, which I don't think you really get much of after the tutorial. Hey, by the way, did those birds scare anybody else during the tutorial, or was that just me? I'll show you what video of what I'm talking about, but yeah, let me know if I'm the only one. Number one, I was looking for a new game to play a little bit on top of that. Oh, Jesus! Ah, geez, yeah, here we go. Oh, just me? Oh, okay, well. Doesn't really matter. That's not what we're talking about here anyway. So moving right along here. Last two things I want to talk about. Push to talk and then muting the incoming voice. Everything else I believe I left the same. Push to talk I think is good. You know, I go back and forth with it. If I wasn't in a party with anybody and if I'm not streaming, so you know, you're like potentially talking to your chat or whatever the case may be, I would probably have push to talk off unless I talk to myself a lot, which I would, so I suppose in which case I would still have it on. However, if you're a normal fucking human, unlike myself, I would consider putting push to talk off. However, I'm not in that boat, so, you know, if you're talking to other people, talk to yourself. If you're talking to your chat, whatever the case may be, you know, if you're in, I don't know, like an Xbox Live or PlayStation party, probably better to have push to talk on, I would assume, but you know, if not, it's a lot quicker than even having to push the button on your thumb if you're trying to shout out to another player like we talked about earlier. So totally up to you and dependent on your situation. And then the last thing I was going to say was just muting the incoming voice. I presume this was off at the default. I didn't have it written down. I certainly want, I think, leaving off. The reason being is if, you know, if you're on the other side of that scenario we talked about where you're shooting a player and he's trying to shout out, hey, I'm friendly, what do you need? If he's trying to talk to you, hey, dude, I'm collecting, you know, compound sheets, what do you need? Oh, water filament seeds. Okay, great. Can we do a trade here? So just little things like that. I think to get the full experience out of the game, it is good and worth it, in my opinion, to be able to speak to other players. So, but again, if you're just trying to play casually, run around, collect stuff, and get in some gunfights, have at it. You know, have at it. So, again, whatever your situation calls for. Okay, and then under controls, sensitivity, that's totally up to you guys. I'm actually curious what you guys think here. The 2 was fine for me. It was set at 2 out of the gate, so I left it at 2, and I think I've enjoyed it a decent amount, but I'm curious. I don't even know how high it goes. So it goes up to 20, and then obviously down to 0. Yeah, the 2 seemed good to me. I'm wondering if that's the same for all of you guys, so. Okay, then that was actually it. I left everything the same. Oh, and then we did talk about earlier just the toggling. It's 100% up to you. Also, friendly reminder, if you do know what targeting is, I'd love to know. Okay, and then last thing under game, last thing we'll discuss here is only thing I thought worth mentioning on this page, because you guys know it all. The subtitles, then, you know, in terms of the notifications, you want to get them or not, it's completely up to you. I just left them all on. The only thing I think worth mentioning is the field of view movement changes. So, and then it says up in the description, it allows for field of view changes based on, oh yeah, you can't even see it because my camera, sorry, I'll change that back actually. So it says up there, allow for field of view, how about I try reading in English? Allow for field of view changes based on the movement states. This might sell the effect that you sprint faster. So my theory is, I left it off, I didn't try it. What I think that would be though, is once you start sprinting, which you do a lot on the map, that camera FOV comes down to sell the effect that you're running faster than what you actually are. I don't know that for a fact, could widen out, but that was just my assumption. So that's why I left it off. I don't want anything that might decrease my field of view. So that was all I was kind of getting at and trying. And the reason why I wanted to let you know, just to leave it off, in my opinion, but totally up to you. Okay, I think that's pretty much about it for the keybinds and then the other settings. So nice. Alrighty, crew. That's pretty much about it regarding the keybinds and settings. So I really hope this video helped you out. Like I said, I tried to keep it as simple as possible. It's kind of how I have to do it. It's just kind of how I operate. So if you do disagree with any of the changes that I made, or just, you know, how I kind of have the layout right now, please let me know. Please put it in the comments. I think it would both help me out, who's, you know, still trying to figure it out. I'm certainly not claiming this is a perfect science at this point. Would also help other players out as well. So thank you in advance if you do. For whatever it's worth, and again, I hate to be this guy again, but I do plan on kind of full sending and making. I'm really enjoying, you know, the Cycle Frontier. Plan on doing a lot more live streams on it, making more videos, more content on it. So please let me know what you'd like to see. You know, if you have any questions about the game, hey, what if this happens? Hey, what's your opinion on this? Again, I'm certainly not the best at the game, and I never will be. Probably not even top 50th percentile. But if I can't help you out in any way, please feel free to ask questions and let me know what you'd like to see in terms of content. So, you know, you can also pop into a stream sometime and feel free to ask away there. I'd love to see you in there. If the video did help you out, if you would consider dropping a like, I'd really appreciate it. It would really mean a lot to me. Sorry again to be that guy. But like I said, more Cycle Frontier coming out. So if you'd like to subscribe to see more so you don't miss any. I am a small channel, so I don't know if it gets out to the masses. I don't know if you'd see it again if I posted it. So if you'd like to consider subscribing, it would mean a lot to me. Thank you in advance if you decide to. Yeah, I think we talked about everything I wanted to hit. So all good. Other than that, hey, thanks again so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Really does mean a lot to me. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you again. We'll be seeing you.